Hi there, welcome to Tarotland Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Libra energy, and like usual on this channel, we're going to do two rows. The top row I refer to as high vibe Libra energy, the bottom row a more worldly, shadowy Libra energy. We all have to make decisions in our life and our free will, and we could battle within ourselves. The high vibe row talks about what we might like to do with our life. You know, if we had a little more hope and faith and belief in our dreams and had healed from some past pain and heartbreak, or had freed ourselves from some of our fears or insecurities or self-limiting beliefs. And then the bottom row can just represent how we want to stay in our comfort zone. Just keep doing life the way we've been doing it. And, you know, we've all been there. We can relate to that. And some people right now are struggling within themselves to make a decision. Some people always struggle to make a decision, and they might perpetually stay stuck trying to make a decision. You know, but eventually other people can make a decision in their life. And they either decide, nope, I'm going to do life the way I've been doing it, or they decide there's something about it I don't enjoy anymore, I don't like. High vibe energy is about, again, having that hope and faith and belief, maybe feeling like things have tipped out of balance, that, you know, we can all live our life a certain way, and initially it can seem great, we're living our life, but then, you know, we keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, and we kind of like, it's kind of like having a job where you learn certain skill levels and then you kind of are interested in seeing if you can take on more responsibility, you know, and kind of grow to your full potential. And it's kind of the same way just in our life. I lived my life at a certain stage of life. I thought it was great when I lived at that stage of life. But then as time goes by, if we're not continuing to kind of keep moving forward and learning new things, or it can just become like stagnant and stale, and eventually it can start to wear away at us, because we might realize the reason we're not moving forward is more because of our fear or insecurities or codependency or something, you know, and then kind of wears away at our self-esteem. So, you know, the truth sets us free, and the top row is about dealing with the truth of a situation. So, we all tap into Libra energy. It has to do with what we think is just and fair. What's your truth? What's other people's truth? We come in contact with all these different people in the world to try to help us get more clear about what our truth is and what our truth isn't. So, let's go look. In the bottom row, we have the Tower card, which can represent that at one point in time, because it's also why the reading came out, we've all been aligned with our more worldly nature. The Tower can represent our more unstable foundation of self, which can just be our more immature nature, prideful nature, you know, if we're bossy or controlling or lazy or egotistical or self-centered or, you know, whatever. We all got lessons to learn in life. We've all experienced a lot of things in life, and we all have lessons to learn. The thing is, we go through stages of life. We detach from an old way of viewing life. We move forward in life differently. Then we are living life at that stage of life, and then if we kind of stay in that stage too long, you know, it starts to feel uncomfortable, like it's like our intuition in the universe telling us it's time for you to go to the next stage of life. And so if we listen to our intuition and having hope and faith and belief in ourselves, we kind of look at the things in our life, maybe some of the people we're hanging out with, some of the decisions we're making in our life, and we see what kind of needs to go and what are the good building blocks to take with us. And then we move forward in life again, and you know, we just perpetually are kind of going through cycles, but sometimes we can get really stuck in a certain phase of life. And some people, you know, we had to go through this age 15 to age 18 to age 21 to age 25. And there could have been some people in the world who didn't think they had to keep doing that, you know, learning lessons in life. But that's the truth is, life is about learning lessons. Getting clear about what our truth is, because we have free will and we either choose to do this or we choose to do that. What is more aligned with your truth? So, we've all been probably in a phase of life where things started to not seem to be going the way they used to be going. And we've all been more unstable, ungrounded, didn't love ourselves, imbalanced, had growing up and maturing to do. So in the bottom row, we start with a card not showing itself, which is the Ten of Wands. Well, initially, the first 30, 40 years of our life were pretty motivated and inspired, is what the Ten of Wands can talk about the world. And we want to go indulge in those things of the world. We're sure those things will make us happy. And we have no interest in maybe not making our life about all these things of the world that we want to make our life about. That is what drives and motivates us. Kind of like we don't harness a more... it's just the phase we're in. In tarot and astrology, it talks about it being in your south node. And we might do that for the first 30, 40 years of our life because we got so many lessons to learn and so many things to experience to help us get clear about what our truth really is. And maybe not until later will we be more inspired to kind of make our life about more than just ourself and these things we want to indulge in, and our pride and our ego and our status and our image and relationships, that we kind of start to look at life from a higher perspective. So then we have the Seven of Cups. We have all, it kind of does, this picture shows a person sleeping and, it's all these things that we want in the world and that we emotionally think and believe will be fulfilling, and we want to be in relationships, and we want to have stability and security and enjoy some of the finer things in life. And then we have the Three of Wands, which is we go invest in these things that we're sure is going to be the answer. We're going to be happy. If those things that we're thinking of, and we take action on those things, and if those things were to come into reality, we're really sure we're going to be happy. Because that's just how we view life. If I have those things in my life, I'll be happy. And then we have the Knight of Swords, which in high vibe, the Knight of Swords, I view it as Gemini energy. Which is, in high vibe, it's our high vibe nature, our higher self, telling us there's more to life than just these things of the world. And if we want to make our life about ourselves, about these things of the world, we can. It's just kind of a more worldly focused foundation. We can live our life from that if we want. But the Seven of Swords is also Scorpio energy, and in shadowy energy, it can be a little more superficial and shallow. And the Three of Wands is Aries energy, which is about the self. And we can make our life all about these things of the world and think it'll make us happy. But there might come a point in time in our life that, because Aries energy also is about us kind of thinking we're the boss and that there is no other higher truth or justice to aspire to in the world. It's about us and the world, and that's what it's about. But there is more going on at play in the world than what we might think. And, we're just ourself and everybody else is themself. And sometimes in shadowy Aries energy that anyone can harness, sometimes people can think that they can control and manipulate things to go in their favor, emotionally confuse people about the truth, because high vibe energy is about being authentic and loving and just and fair and acting with character and integrity. We treat other people the way we like to be treated. We work together within ourselves to free ourselves from our more immature, egotistical, self-centered, self-indulgent nature, to grow up and mature ourselves. The Three of Pentacles is Capricorn energy. Shadowy Capricorn is represented by the devil. Do we put in work and effort to free ourselves from our more immature, worldly nature? Do we still... The Tower is about trying to reveal the truth. Some people are like, let me in, let me in. I do not want to see the truth. Some people do have some more shadowy ways of being about them. They might like to keep their emotions more buried beneath the surface because we are emotionally complex human beings and our emotions are confusing. And so some people could be like, nope, I would rather kind of use my emotions more manipulatively in a relationship and maybe keep my emotions pretty much buried underneath the surface a little bit. I like to live... Libra is air sign energy. I might like to live more from my mind than my heart. And in my fire sign energy, which is our creativity, our imagination, and like our sexuality, I think I'm good. I don't really have to delve into my emotions because I find them really confusing. That, I think I can use my charm and my sexuality and all that to get people to view me as more of a just and fair and emotionally mature and loving person and get in relationships with me. But I kind of use my traits and characteristics and my emotions and my sexuality maybe more to try to manipulate people to view me as more emotionally mature and stable and grounded than I really am. And I might like to just indulge in relationships, not really emotionally get caught up in love because it's confusing and I don't want to do it. So they can kind of suppress... Since the Seven of Cups in Scorpio can talk about burying your emotions beneath the surface, some people bury their more creative, inspired nature underneath the surface also. In the Ten of Wands, like the Three of Wands, someone could have more lessons to learn in their fiery nature of being more bold and brave and confident, but they reject that and they could think, I'm good. I might be smart. The Knight of Swords I view as Gemini energy, air sign energy, which is about our charm and our words and how we want to go about manifesting in the world. And some people are like, no, I prefer to align with my more worldly nature, not my more emotionally intuitive, loving nature. I want to work with things of the world. I think I can have my dreams come into reality, living my life like that. And I'll just create the illusion that I'm more aligned with being motivated and inspired by truth and love. Because in our dualistic nature, we're either more motivated and inspired to build our life on truth and love and justice and fairness and growing and healing and maturing ourselves and treating other people the way we like to be treated, or we're kind of more aligned with our more worldly, immature nature. So some people are just maybe still caught up in the illusion of the world or illusions of themselves or have illusions about what it means to be in a relationship. Some of them are intimidating, controlling, defensive, you know. Some people are very unstable, meaning they're in very shadowy energy. Needless, we got, doesn't have to be people in your life, but we know and read about people in the newspapers that are atrocious. They're completely not aligned with truth and justice and fairness. And then everybody's somewhere on the spectrum, right? And we kind of like to be in relationships with people who are kind of on the same page as us. But we're all kind of have these dreams. We're caught up in the illusion of the world. Maybe haven't realized the truth that we need to learn to love ourselves and offer ourselves love and compassion and forgiveness to free ourselves from all these different things in the world that manipulate us. Sometimes we can be in relationships with some people in our life. Some of them were defensive to seeing the truth, defensive to change. Maybe defensive to love, were more about themselves. Could have been overwhelmed by life, overwhelmed by their own fears and insecurities, overwhelmed because other people could have been unkind, unjust, unfair. We can set ourselves free from those things because we can distance ourselves. We're not children anymore, and hopefully, we can distance ourselves from investing time, energy, and effort into people who are unjust, unfair, defensive, bossy, controlling, intimidating, act like a private detective in a relationship. We have to do that to our own shadow nature because we have our dualistic nature. Our shadow nature is that aspect of ourself that is like our self-defeating aspect. Don't love and believe in yourself. You're no good. Nobody would like you. Nobody will ever like you. You're awful. There's some people who keep living like that in their own head. But we have free will. We can choose to offer love and compassion and forgiveness to our own shadowy nature. Or we can listen to our own harsh, critical inner voice. We can let our thoughts intimidate us, let our emotions overwhelm us. We are meant to learn to master our thoughts and our emotions and learn to realize that we can create a little hell on earth in our own head, or we can create a little heaven on earth in our own head. And then we have all these people in the world that are either kind of more aligned with and representative of our more high vibrational nature or our more shadowy nature, and we have free will to choose which people we choose to hang out with. And some people, it takes time to learn that. And we might live our life a certain way because we're sure that's the answer. Pride comes before the fall. We're sure we're right. We're sure we're the boss. We're sure we know what the hell we're doing. And life is all about learning lessons. And the Ten of Wands is Sagittarius energy, which is about higher learning and education. We just didn't realize that this world is like a school. There is a higher purpose. There is more to being on this planet than just us indulging ourselves in the world and thinking we're the boss, because there will be consequences for our actions, and we will, if we're not more just, fair, balanced, loving, respectful, and mature, we're going to have a lot of people. The Tower talks about people who don't want to be in a relationship with us because they see the truth of the foundation we're operating from, which is a lack of having learned lessons. So most people throughout their life learn some of these lessons. You know, it's not all about me. I shouldn't try to manipulate people to get them to do what I want. I shouldn't try to intimidate and control people. It's not just all about me. It's supposed to be about love. And hopefully a lot of people detach from many ways of being that initially they could have thought in their Libra energy was just and fair. And hopefully if they had other people in their life that kind of have some lessons to learn, hopefully they detach from some of those people too. But some people haven't. And we can get in relationships with people and we think we kind of are inspired by the same dream, that our truth is the same, what drives and motivates us is the same, and the way we view life and the way we view relationships is kind of the same. And in a lot of ways, initially, it can be, but there can come a point in time where we realize in our Gemini energy, which again is about, at a core foundational level, what our truth is, what we align with, our more hopeful, believing, loving nature, where we're willing to detach from old ways of being, to get out of our ego, our more immature, defensive nature, to put in work and effort to work cooperatively with people. Some people did, and some people didn't. And, you know, if we were to look at this as a thing of lessons people have learned, you know, there's people all over, you know. Uncle Bob, Aunt Sally, you, other people you know, you, other people you know. You know, we all learn lessons and have different life experiences. And there are some people in the world, they're not overwhelmed at all. Their truth is, I am about me. I am caught up in these things of the world. This is what I'm deeply emotionally attached to, invested in. They could be, I don't know what they could be. You know, I mean, you know, needless if somebody was an alcoholic or had an addiction, it'd be kind of obvious to everyone. But sometimes some people try to present themselves. Libra energy that people can harness can be like this public politician persona. I'm going to go out in the world and present myself as being this high vibe person. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I'm going to act like this and I'm going to dress like this. And I'm going to hang out with these people and not those people. And I'm going to do these things and not those things. You know, so that everybody, as many people as they can, in a way, or I guess significant people in their life, try to maintain this illusion. Libra is also represented by the scales of justice, that they're this very just and stable person. But some people are hiding, since this card wasn't showing itself, that they're very overwhelmed, and they could be very unstable in a lot of ways. My envy consumes me. My jealousy consumes me. You know, shadowy energy. My ego consumes me. My competitive nature consumes me. My want to try to control people and make people view me a certain way controls me. All those things, just like any addiction, it's all these things that overwhelm them. High vibe energy, at the big picture, represented by God. Shadowy energy, kind of more represented by the devil, just all these things that manipulate us. High vibe energy is wanting you to be free of these things that manipulate you. Instead of being overwhelmed and so caught up in these things of the world, how about you work through your emotional confusion and take some inspired action to get clear about what your truth is, and stand up for yourself and love yourself and believe in yourself and work through your fears and insecurities and self-limiting beliefs so you can feel more just, balanced, and stable within yourself. Free yourself from things that manipulate you. But just for some people, why does anybody hold on to their more fearful nature or insecure nature or defensive to love nature? Because then they don't have to do life differently, so they get to stay in their comfort zone. And people will stay in their comfort zone, living life the way they live it, until it becomes so overwhelming, that maybe they can't hide it from other people anymore, or it's just so destabilizing to them that something's got to give. But other people have went through life. They went through phases of life. It felt overwhelming. They didn't know why it was so overwhelming. They were confused. They thought for sure the way they were living their life was going to make them happy, that this made sense, this was just and fair, this is what I'm motivated and inspired by. But yet it's not. It's kind of like cognitive dissonance, where I view my life going this way, but the evidence seems to show my life is going this way, and then it can be like, oh, well, I guess I view myself like this, but I actually do this, and it kind of takes me off path. And that can be the wake-up call that, I kind of always thought that I was moving this direction, but because of maybe some things I don't want to see the truth of, which really kind of starts within ourselves. We can want to blame everyone else in our life. And there can be people in our life who try to make our life a living hell. But why do we stay? If we're in bad friendships, workplaces, relationships, why do we stay? We can keep thinking, oh, no, I'm truth and love. I'm trying to get those people to change. They just won't listen to me. Because the Knight of Swords would be trying to communicate a message, and some people have their door shut. Oh, no, I'm sure one day they'll listen. Oh, no. If they would just change, everything would be better. Well, if we have the free will and we're not children anymore, why are we trying to get other people to change? Everybody has the free will to live their life the way they want it, and we have the free will to decide if we want to work together with them or not. And it can be hard to leave, because if initially we got in a situation and initially it seemed like we were all on the same page, well, there's no telling when people are going to start to drive their life off into the ditch. Between all sorts of things, between mental illness, addiction, not to say that those are comparable at all, but we all have to take responsibility within ourselves to deal with the truth. And if we don't want to deal with the truth, we're going to try to either not want to see the truth, stay in denial of the truth, maybe look to other things other than the truth, which is to offer ourselves love and believe that we deserve love, and offer ourselves love and compassion and forgiveness for the mistakes and lessons we've had to learn, and offer it to people in our past so we can let them go. And then to move up into high vibe energy. But it can be hard because it's hard to let go of an old dream. There's people in our life that we don't want to let go of. Even if they're just a friend that you've had for a long time. And maybe they seem to be blocking you out, and you don't know. But the whole thing is, we don't have to know what's going on with other people. High vibe energy is like wishing people peace. I don't understand. I don't know why you're acting this way. It comes across as emotionally confusing. I could view it as you seeming to be more about yourself than working cooperatively. I could view you as being defensive. I could view you as turning your back on the truth, being unwilling to change. I could view you as prideful, egotistical, bossy, whatever, But we don't have to understand. We can wish people peace, this isn't my truth. I don't want to stay in an unjust, unfair, unbalanced, unloving relationship. I wish you peace. And the Eight of Cups is kind of that. The Eight of Cups walks away from the Seven of Cups. If people aren't ready to move forward and be more independent, because the Eight of Cups is walking to the Nine of Cups, and I'm going to offer myself that cup of love to overcome any obstacles in my way, because I want to be more emotionally independent and free of things that manipulate me. And if there's people in our life that still have a lot of things that manipulate them, and they might not want to see the truth of it, and they are bound and determined to kind of keep some pattern going, a way of living life, a way of viewing life, it's like I can't stay there anymore, because I find it emotionally confusing, and it doesn't seem stable and balanced and loving. So I'm going to wish myself and those people love, and I'm going to keep moving forward. And if one day they work through whatever was preventing them, and part of what could be preventing them is the Tower, they would have to let go of something that they don't want to let go of, which could just be their illusions that they have about what it means to be in a relationship. Well, can't I be defensive to change? Can't I be defensive to working cooperatively with people? Can't I find someone to be in a relationship with me? Can't I be kind of bossy and controlling or intimidating? Can't I make it more about indulging myself in a relationship than really doing love? Well, they can. They just need to find someone else who's on the same page and maybe views life that way also. Can't I be hurtful or unkind or unjust and unfair so long as I present myself as this just and fair person in the world? Well, you can, so long as you can find somebody willing to stay in a relationship with you being like that. But some other people aren't willing to stay in those jobs, friendships, and relationships with people who are defensive to change, are defensive to being offering love to the situation and to themselves to become more independent of their more immature worldly nature that makes people not want to stay in a relationship with them. You know, the people moving forward in life differently, they had to do that too. Wouldn't everybody like to live an illusion that it's really all about me and I can be defensive and I don't ever have to change and magically everything works out for me? It's just not the reality. It's not how this game of life works, you know? If you want to be in relationships with people who work cooperatively with you from love, again, Three of Pentacles is high vibe Capricorn. Shadowy Capricorn is the devil. I don't want to work together with people who are shadowy. If I don't want to work together with people who are shadowy, I should not be a shadowy person. And for some people, that's what they have a problem with. Well, no, that's not how I view life. I do kind of think people should want to be in a relationship with me regardless. It's like, well, okay, if you can find someone like that, then I guess they're a perfect person for you. But other people have learned the truth. If I want to be in emotionally balanced, just, fair, authentic, loving, tempered, mature relationships, that's who I need to be. So they detach from being more about themselves and these illusions. And the Seven of Wands, they got out of their defensiveness and aligning with their more egoic, worldly nature. You know, it's like giving birth to a brand new you. Shedding an old layer of yourself, no longer inspired to move forward in that way. And the sixes can talk about being more balanced within yourself. You know, before, I might have operated more from my defensive nature, my egoic nature, caught up more in the world, caught up more in me and ego and image, indulging in things to make me feel better. I kind of worked through all that stuff to realize that I just needed to get more balance within myself, work through, offer myself some love and compassion and forgiveness, offer it to some people in my past so I can move on from the past and move forward victoriously in the energy of love. So, two cards that I view as Gemini energy. Truly being like justice in the world is someone who can work together cooperatively with people in love. And there's some people who want people to view them as being that type of person, maybe try to get in relationships with other people who really are that type of person so that they look like they're that type of person. But eventually, if that's not the truth of who they are, eventually the people in their life kind of see through the facade, see through the illusion. You're kind of defensive to change. You're defensive to getting out of your defensive nature, your ego nature, your immature nature, your overwhelmed. I can't make you do that. That's something that people... This card, because of the mountains there, it kind of reminds me of Virgo energy. We have to love ourselves enough. And Virgo energy is represented by the Hermit card of taking this time alone, sometimes in caves in the mountains, metaphorically, to take this time alone to go on this sojourn of finding yourself, to get clear about your truth and what you bring to the table, and appreciating your good qualities and acknowledging your maybe less than good qualities, and putting in work and effort to either let them go completely or figure out how you need to transform those qualities or grow or mature them in some way. And when people do that, they get out of their defensive nature. People who are trying to create a false illusion, they're not just, they're not fair, they're not loving, they're motivated by other things. Those people can be very defensive and prideful and egotistical in the world, or think full of themselves. Other people are out of their ego, realizing that, it takes working together, being authentic, loving, and encouraging. We've all thrived in that energy ever since we've been small children. And high vibe people know that. I'm going to treat other people the way I like to be treated, with love and encouragement. If they act in shadowy ways, I will tell them my truth, but I'm not in shadowy ego kind of energy like, you've got to listen to me. No, I tell people my truth. I think that was rude. I think that was unfair. I think that was unjust. Or, some people, it's not even worth wasting your energy. You just distance yourself. Your actions speak volumes. Yeah, no. Not doing that. I've already been around people who acted like that before. From the Two of Cups to the Eight of Cups, I've learned a lesson emotionally about how to work together with some people that some other people haven't learned. And when I can see that, I could already know I don't, because sometimes it can be a waste of breath. If you see people that are prideful, egotistical, bossy, controlling, hurtful, unkind, unjust, unfair, it'd be like talking to a brick wall. It would be a waste of your energy. Right now, some people that are in a situation that's been overwhelming are trying to get out of feeling so overwhelmed. And they could kind of, not detaching from some people in their life yet, they're just taking this time within themselves to kind of blocking out maybe some other people in their life. This is Gemini energy. This is Aries Scorpio energy. To take some time to really kind of do this work within themselves. Do I have hope and faith and belief in my dreams? Am I willing to get out of my more worldly egoic nature? What about the people in my life that I had a dream that those people would be motivated and inspired by that? Are they? Aren't they? Why did I get in the relationships I'm currently in? Why did the people I'm in relationship with get in the relationship with me? Or why are they staying in it? Why am I staying in it? Some people are trying to take this time alone, and some other people are like, let me in, let me in. You know, trying to get them, maybe tempt them in their lust, their greed, their pride, their ego, their immature nature, their addictive nature, or something. And some people could be trying to take some time. You know, the Three of Wands is kind of like looking out into the imaginative realm. And that's also the Seven of Wands. Looking out to, like, what do I want to bring into reality? And some people could be thinking about that. And some people are the people trying to stop other people from doing that. Some people are the people like, no way am I changing. I'm going to keep doing life the way I've been doing it. But, you know, we've got all sorts of different people in our life. And you have your own intuition about people in your life to listen to your intuition. Who do you think doesn't want to change, doesn't really, might like the ego and the image that comes from being in relationships and the status or whatever, but it's really not love that motivates them. It's really a little bit more about either everybody staying codependent, they're codependent on the world or other people in their life, if that's friends or original family group, and they're just not very independent in the world. Odds are those people will keep staying in this energy for quite a bit longer. But there can be other people, even people we don't know, that are the people we are going to meet as we go on our journey. You know, just like we had to do this work and take some time alone when we were in situations that seemed mismatched. It's like, why would I stay? What about if I go? And, you know, it's going to take work and effort. I'm going to have to work on loving myself and believing in myself. And, you know, that's like high vibe Six of Wands, Leo energy. I'm going to have to give myself the things that I wish other people would have given me. And shadowy energy can be our more codependent energy, you know, and we've all been there. I'm going to have to learn to be inspired by love within my own foundation to get out of my more codependent energy, to quit having these illusions that other people are going to change and quit getting in relationships with people with the idea, oh, I'm sure one day they'll change. Well, if you were to look at your own life and anything you've ever changed in your life, how long really did that take for that to become the new norm for your life? That can take years and decades. So we kind of get out of our illusions and start to deal with reality. The truth sets us free. You know what? From now on, the people I'm going to more emotionally invest in are the people who do seem to be more free of some things that I'm free of, that don't manipulate me, or I'm not at that stage of life anymore and I've grown or healed or matured or expanded my perception of myself or the world around me, and maybe not trying to manipulate people, be hurtful to people, live in fantasy land, be defensive, whatever it is, you know. I'm going to go work with those people because they're already on the same page as me. And with them, I can start to work to bring a dream into reality versus trying to get someone else to change, which they, if they had wanted to be that type of person, Eight of Cups, Pisces, more connected in with their emotions and their intuition than maybe living more from their mind than their heart, more motivated and inspired by love, not operating from ego and defensiveness and immaturity, motivated by truth and love, motivated to work together cooperatively with people. Yeah, those are the people. I'm not going to keep chasing after the people who that's not their thing. And that's what some people did. It was overwhelming. And they decided to drop the burden. I have thought about my dreams. And I have been offering in high vibe Gemini energy truth and love and encouragement to people. But I can't make them do that work within themselves. And if they're not motivated to be in a more just, fair, balanced, loving relationship, I'm going to quit staying in denial of the truth. If they had wanted to be that type of person, they would be that type of person. It is really confusing if you got in a relationship with someone who presented themselves as being that type of person, and then boom, maybe boom, 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 many times throughout time of a relationship, that isn't the truth of who they are. But we can keep wanting, shadowy Libra is wanting to stay in denial of the truth. And we all can harness shadowy Libra. Until it's just too much. It's kind of like the last straw. And some people have been trying to keep people in this. The shadowy people have been trying to keep the high vibe people in their life. Don't go, don't go. No, stay in there, stay in there. And the high vibe people are like, you won't let me in. You won't let truth and love in. I'm going to go find people who let truth and love in. I'm dropping the burden. No more illusions about some people in my life. Whether you were dealing with a Scorpio and an Aries or a Gemini or another Libra, or just people who you kind of realize they're got illusions about what it means to be in a relationship. They're more about themselves. They're more aligned with a more worldly view of life than building a foundation based on love. It's like, teach your own. Knock yourself out. I don't find it emotionally fulfilling. I thought together we would move forward. We would both heal, grow, mature, become more independent. Get out of our egos, get out of our fear, get out of our self-centered nature, immature nature. And I thought we were going to work together cooperatively in love, but apparently that is not the truth. So apparently my dream can't come into reality here. I could have wished it did, but it didn't. My dream can only come into reality with other people who are in this energy. So I'm going to go wish you peace, and I'm going to move on. Doesn't mean you went through a lot of anger to get there. That was that time of solitude to wrap your brain around this game of life. And as you do that, you do get out of your ego about it. Both the 7 and the 6 of Wands is Leo energy, which can be about being in our ego and our competitive energy and our hurt energy and feeling betrayed energy. And we kind of see the truth. People who are motivated and inspired by love are loving. People who are motivated to be just and fair are just and fair. People who are motivated to act with character and integrity act with character and integrity. And the people who aren't try to manipulate other people to get what they want. People who are petty, envious, and jealous, who wanted you to move forward in a relationship with them, letting them create an illusion they were something they weren't. And when you tried to get them to move forward in the way that they say that they are, and they weren't willing to do it, well, then you saw the truth of their foundation, and then some of those people want to tear you down. I'm going to try to emotionally confuse people about the truth of why this relationship didn't work out. I'm going to try to present myself as like the leader in the world who's this truthful, honest person. People shouldn't align with the other people who really are that. you know? And some people, were confused. And some people do have more friendship or connection or loyalty or knew them from childhood with some of those people. But as more time goes by, when you don't let hurtful, unkind people who might try to not want to reveal the truth, try to confuse people about the truth, that's really confusing. And you wonder, why did they do that? I thought our dreams could have come into reality. But for some people, if it got to that point in the relationship where they would have to become more independent, love themselves, work through some of their issues, gigs up. They're not going to step out of their comfort zone or detach from anything or anyone, or being more about themselves or more about the world or whatever it is that manipulates them. They were not willing to work cooperatively in truth and authenticity and love. A little bit more about either themselves or having these illusions about relationships and that they'll just go find someone else if they really don't have to do love. You can get hurt doing love. Some people don't want to do love. So you see the truth and you go find the people in the world and keep moving forward with the people in your life who do work together with you in an emotionally balanced, loving way. And if other people come towards you and other people you meet, love is kind of like wanting everyone to heal and do better in your life. Do I want to go back to dating you or getting back in a more involved friendship? With some people, maybe no, depending on how they acted and how they behaved at the end of a friendship, workplace, or relationship. But do we need more healed people in the world? Yes. Am I glad you've healed? Yes. Can I see you out in the world? And, if you think people really have changed, yes. Because they're being authentic and honest. But some people, you still won't have anything more to do with them. And some people, even if they were to come towards you at some future date, and some people will meet as we're moving forward, they're already in their own relationships or got new relationships. And we have to accept the truth of that too. And we don't let us live in fantasy land like, no, it has to be them. Like, God, no. Change them. It has to be them. It's like, no. Your dream can only come into reality with people who are willing to work together with you in that way and invest in you. And if you already know some people or meet some people that choose not to live their life like that, or they're already in their relationship, then we believe that God has another plan for our life. We're not the boss. Life is about learning lessons. And if we learn some lessons, it's time for the new lesson to unfold. And what do the high vibe people not see coming? The Six of Swords. Why? Because of the Knight of Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles is our Virgo energy that I referred to, that deals with the truth. The truth is, we have a dream. And when we keep taking slow, steady steps forward, investing our time, energy, and effort into we can wish everybody peace and socialize lightly with everyone in the world and people that we work with. But the people I'm really going to focus my time, energy, and effort on are the people who work together with me in a just and fair and balanced and loving way. And I'm going to keep focused on the higher perspective and believing in my dreams. The thing is, with our shadow nature and aligning with our more worldly nature, at the big picture kind of represented by the devil, is kind of like, it might be quicker results in a way, it seems like, but it's kind of more immediate gratification, but short-term gratification. If we really want our dream to come into reality, it does take work and effort Shadowy energy is wanting reward without effort. And that's what some of the shadowy people want. I don't want to have to put in work and effort to heal and grow and mature myself or become more independent of what manipulates me. I just want to be in a relationship with the people who did. Because then I get to enjoy all the perks of being in a relationship with someone who isn't immature or bossy or controlling or unjust or unfair or prideful or egotistical. They've kind of freed themselves to some degree of not being to the same degree as some of these other people are, you know? And if I want my dreams to come into reality, I need to invest in being that type of person, invest my time, energy, and effort in appreciating the people in my life who are in that energy. And I think as you do that, because you're operating from truth and maintaining in Libra energy balance within yourself, not enabling poor behavior in yourself and others, I think your dreams are going to come into reality because you're aligned with the truth. And I think as you move forward, if you're not, you're already moving forward with the people in your life, whether those are friends or family or appreciating the nice people at the coffee shop or the grocery store. There's going to be other people you're going to meet along your way. You're no longer investing in what's unjust, unfair, unstable, immature, prideful, egotistical, petty, lazy, fantasy land. You're taking action based on the truth. And offering truth and love, because the biggest gift and insight to learn is what Virgo is holding is the truth. I offer people love and resources to love and believe in themselves. I can't make them do that work within themselves, but I can be a loving, encouraging person in people's life if they choose to do this work within themselves and then want to work together with me in a more balanced way. I'm open to that. If not, I will keep my distance. I'm not going to put up with abuse from people. But at least I can be proud of myself that I acted with character and integrity. Anyway, let's jump on. What's coming up for people who might harness a more worldly, shadowy Libra energy that they might not see coming? So, the people in high vibe, harnessing high vibe, Pisces, Leo, Gemini, Aquarius, Virgo, Capricorn. What's coming up for the more worldly, shadowy people that they don't see coming? It has to do with these three cards because of the Two of Wands. Here we have the Three of Wands. There's kind of, in relationship to other people, if people kind of, and the light just came on. If we kind of act in a little more immature, shadowy, lazy, whatever kind of way, there's always going to be some more high vibrational people in our life that want to be in our life, but eventually, from the Three of Wands to the Two of Wands, I'm letting this go. And I'm going to look to the future. I've been trying to get other people to look to the future and have some hope and faith and belief in their dreams and quit repeating some old pattern over and over and over. And finally, the high vibe people in their life see the truth. If they wanted to be that type of person and live their life like that, they would. I just need to be willing to let them live their life, and I need to go live my life and detach from this foundation. And sometimes kind of shadowy people know that the people they're in relationships with love them, care for them, want this dream to come into reality. And that's when some people, though, are like, it's like an addiction, but I want more of your attention. I don't want you being more independent. I don't like you liking other people or working with other people. It's like I want more, because they're kind of consumed with themselves, some of them. And so then they think other people should be consumed with them. Other people maintain balance within themselves from a place of love, so they don't get consumed with themselves and are able to do more equal give and take in relationships. Anyway, they're going to have some high vibe people leave their life because the high vibe people in their life have done this work within themselves to detach from harnessing these energies in a more shadowy way and to harness them in a more high vibrational way so they can let go of living their life a certain way or certain jobs or friendships that they're in. What is it? The Devil, the Empress, and the Judgment card. So, for one, when we're more about ourself and the world, that's the Devil's about things of the world. The Empress can be that we were a more codependent energy. We hadn't learned to offer ourselves a cup of love, to reconcile ourselves with the past and believe in ourselves and believe in our dreams and feel more stable and grounded within ourselves. So we're kind of going out in the world looking for someone in codependent energy, kind of looking for someone to love us and validate our worth and value. And it's kind of like taking the place of your parents, you know? And there's other people in the world who like to play that role in people's life. But then it is kind of like, well, because you're looking for someone to love you, and I like to play that role in people's life, and so I can come across like you as a loving, nurturing person. The only thing is, you do want people to heal and grow and mature themselves, and they don't because they like a more imbalanced relationship. You're like the child, I'm the parent. You're like the employee, I'm the boss. And so that's where it's this illusion that it's more about them. But they try to confuse people that they're more about them. They present themselves as like, oh no, I'm motivated and inspired by love. And that's why you can stay in a relationship with them for a long time. Because they seem like you. The only difference is after you go in the relationship long enough, you see the truth that it's not love that drives and motivates them. It's kind of their ego and people being codependent on them and liking people being codependent on them. And high vibe people don't like people being codependent on them. I want you to be more independent. And some other people see the truth of it. Things within themselves and things about the other people. And in shadow, the Devil and the Empress is Libra, Taurus energy, which in shadow can be, I'm all about myself or the world, ego, image, money, and materialism. And I think it's just unfair to make my life about that. And some people could be realizing that's why, you know, we all can be tempted by these things of the world. That's why, you know, even being in a relationship, it at least provides a sense of feeling stable and secure where you don't have to go into unknown territory. But the more stable it is, the more financially, all the more worldly perks there are to it, you know, the harder it can maybe be to leave because it does have all those things in the world. And we really have to put our faith and trust in believing in ourselves and believing in our dreams and maybe in our unique talent, skills, and interest, and willing to put in the work and effort that I'm not going to stay regardless. And that's what could be shocking to some of the people in the world who could look like people like their dreams are coming into reality. Why would anyone leave when this person could look like their dreams, like they have all these things that people dream of having? And the high vibe people said, because it's not based on truth and love. It's more about them or more about the ego and the image or the money or the greed or the status, and it's not love. And my dream, do I want some of those things? Yes, it's part of having balance in your life. But I'm willing to sacrifice some of those things because I want to be in authentic, loving relationships is more important than those things. And other people can be exactly the opposite. I would gladly, some people did. I give up love. That is not my truth. I want to repeat an old pattern, make my life about these things. I do not want to I don't look at life from a higher perspective. I don't think there is any other truth to being on this planet than to make it about me or make it about what the world tells me to make my life about. And if some of these people are much more kind of into that versus just being more bossy and controlling, you know, there's going to probably be other people that are willing to stay in a relationship with them for those reasons. They might try to present it like, oh my gosh, this is my dream life, and they might be hiding, and both of them might be hiding that the reason they're in it is more out of fear, insecurity, codependency, or greed, or self-indulgence. It's not based on truth and love. And if that's how they want to live their life, they just need to find someone who wants to live their life like that with them. And, you know, the high vibe people in their life who do believe in themselves, who do face their fears, who offer themselves love to get balance within themselves and hold themselves accountable, are moving on and calling judgment on these people. And the people, the shadowy people don't want to hold themselves accountable, do not want to reveal the truth, don't want other people to reveal the truth about who they really are and what drives and motivates them. And they think they can control things, but the universe is going to keep shaking up their life. When you act in unjust, unfair, look at the newspaper. We've seen a lot of things in the newspaper lately about people who thought they were so powerful that they could treat people atrociously, in their case. With most people's lives, hopefully it's not atrocious. But like, I'm so powerful and I have created this illusion about the type of person I am that no one will see the truth of my foundation. The truth, we can think we're the boss. That's like shadowy Aries energy. And we can think in our Libra energy that we have a certain status or image in the world. No one will see the truth. There's higher powers that play in this world, in this game of life. And the truth has a way of rising to the surface. And the whole thing is, other people have their intuition. And as certain, you meet different people in your life, and it's like, you can wear whatever fake, shadowy Scorpio, you can wear whatever fake mask you want, trying to present yourself as something you're not. My intuition tells me you're superficial and shallow. My intuition tells me you're more about yourself. My intuition tells me you're defensive to love. My intuition tells me that you create this illusion that you're this more stable, balanced, just, fair, independent person than you really are. And I'm going to listen to my intuition and I'm going to keep my distance. And then they'll be like, why don't these people want to be in a relationship with me? Because they can be blind to their own, if you've met some people where it's like, oh my gosh, you are so brusque or harsh or whatever, or bossy or egotistical, and they're completely clueless. Okay, we're going to leave it there. Libra, I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.